Well, again, we're playing the conference champions. They've been the best team in our league from the beginning of the year, and so again, we know how difficult it's going to be. But it's a great rivalry. It's a rivalry game. We're playing good hockey as of late, and it's just going to be. It's going to be just one of those typical weekends in the CCHA. Like we've said before, every game's just a battle. It seems like, we're all pretty much the same. There's just a little variety, a little difference in each team, but they've proven they've got the most juice this year, and it shows, it shows with the records.
I think earlier this year you talked about a northern team that was in 8th place, and they got hot at the end of the year, won 3 straight series going into the postseason, and you're like, this is a team we don't want to play. Nobody wants to play them because of how hot they are. Well, you look at what you guys are doing now, it's 10 out of your last 12 points. So how big is this weekend and just feeling good about yourselves and feeling like one of those teams?
Well, it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be interesting because, again, maybe I don't know if we're feeling, I don't like using the term we're feeling good about ourselves. I don't know if we are or not. We've had a little success as of late, but also, I've been around long enough, and so have these players, that it wasn't too long ago where we were sitting there licking our wounds. And so you can never, there's not the word overconfident, that's not in our vocabulary, that's for sure. But the word confidence needs to be in your vocabulary when you're playing good. But so are they. And again, at the end of the day, I want to kind of go back. It's just it's a great rivalry game, and we obviously, like anything, you want to go into a high note going into the playoffs. I mean, there's no question about that. And so do they. So you just got to let it play out. And, again, we've had great games with Mankato over the years, and I expect nothing different this weekend.
A couple weeks ago, you challenged a penalty for a major out in Michigan Tech, and you end up scoring on that major penalty. This past weekend, you challenge again, and you get to close out that Friday night game on a major penalty. Talk about the work that Dylan Johnson and Joe Wegworth do in those situations.
Hey, no doubt. I mean, it's they've done a good job identifying that. And to be honest, you're in the third period. If you're and we haven't burned our time out, so it's not a bad time to do a challenge anyway. And they were confident both times. They were confident. That it was contact to the head. So, I mean, obviously, again, it's not that high of a risk. No, if you've burned your time out, you aren't doing it. You aren't doing it. You can't risk it. So, so that's that, again, it goes twofold. Those guys had good eyeballs up there identifying the contact to the head, but we also, the risk of losing the timeout at that particular time, 5 minutes to go in the game when you're on the power play, or about 11 or 12 minutes to go in the game, which that's what happened when it was in Michigan Tech. No big deal if we lose it.
How much attention to detail goes into that role for you guys in the video aspect?
Well, they know their job. It's part of the job description. Like, you got to be on top of it, the best of your ability. There was one we missed last year in North Dakota, an offside, in overtime. So, which cost us a game, so you guys, the rules are the rules, so you got to be on top, and those guys are doing a good job.
And one more about those guys. I mean, you're in your 24th year doing this. They're obviously a much earlier phase of their coaching career at this level too. But just talk about what it's like, kind of being on the lower end of that totem pole and the grind it is to work out through.
No doubt, Jared. It's it's a labor of love for them right now. They love the game. They want to be part of the game. They'll do anything to be part of the game. But we were all there too. I was there too. My first jobs, I could write a book, what you had to do. And if you want to do anything in life, especially in sports, I don't know anybody that starts in a penthouse apartment. It doesn't happen. So it's a labor of love, and sometimes it's sometimes it's just survival. And but it's also kind of cool when you look back at things, just like you guys are doing. So different than how everybody cuts their teeth. There's not many people who are handed, again, like that penthouse apartment, that silver spoon in the real world, and so that's what those guys are doing right now. And then you just got to see how far it takes you, and then how much do you want to stay, how much do you want to stay in it.
And last one, it's a non-college hockey question for you, but Ben Kinney is in his second year of coaching the high school team here, and you've talked about him and how fit he is to be a coach in this game, but You watch your kids go through high school hockey in Minnesota and how tough it is and how big of a grind it is too. And so just thoughts on how he's gotten that.
Well, Ben's a good hockey man, and I knew that when he played for me. I mean, he was a two-time captain. He always had he had good instincts, great feel for the game. I look back at a lot of my players, and he was one. Like I've had 5 or 6 guys. I said, "Gosh, they should be coaches, and they would be good." You just know. Wince was one of them. Teddy was one of them. Notter was one of them. Ben's one of them. No, and then there's other guys that went into it that they're doing great. I mean, you got Hampa Shodal, Garrett Roth. There's guys doing it, but like Ben had, Ben had just a great feel for all situations. He was a student of the game, always in the right place at the right time, and most importantly, and again, he was the leader too. So, I'm happy for Ben, and I'm pumped up for those guys tomorrow. And I was thinking about this game in Thief River Falls, and they went to a state tournament a few years back. But I remember my own son. I still remember that game. Matt's junior year, they lost 1-0 to Moorhead, and it was a great game. And Bitzer was the goalie for Moorhead at that time. And I just still remember that game. Like I don't remember a ton of his games, but that game I remember driving to Thief River and just nervous the whole time and nervous the whole game. And that's good that they're going to be going through that tomorrow. So, but it's a good nervous. It's a good fun and it's a good nervous, and it's great for the community. It's great for everybody, and we wish them luck.
Coach, with the playoffs looming, but you still having this one series left, how do you get the players to keep the focus on this series that's coming up, or does a rivalry like this already do it, or do the players, are they already good at not worrying about what's going to happen down the road?
I think they're fine with all that, Charlie. I don't think they get too far ahead of themselves. I think they take the same approach as we do. And first off, it's Mankato. Secondly, we want to finish as high in the standings as we possibly can. Thirdly, we realize what we did, how we stubbed our toe, against Ferris State in Northern Michigan, which I don't want to talk about anymore, but I also got to bring it up because, again, it's all part of the narrative of what you're talking about right now. So, we're trying to dig ourselves out of the hole that we dug for ourselves. That's probably the best way of putting it. And, have we dug ourselves out of a hole? No, but you know what? We're feeling a little better about ourselves, and we're not out of the hole, but at least our neck. We're up to our neck right now, and that's kind of how I look at it. So, and I'm sure that's how they look at it. Maybe it's a little different way of putting it, but we want to keep it going.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be the kind of the same as when we always play them. It's a fast game. It's really fun to be a part of, especially going down to their barn, and just excited to get the weekend going.
What's the rivalry been like between Bemidji State and Minnesota State while you've been here? This could be your last time playing them this weekend.
Yeah, for me, it's definitely grown. Like when I got here, I really didn't know much about Mankato. I knew they were really good, but just throughout the years, the rivalry that's built, the games that we've had against them, the ups and downs of it, it's just been special. I'm really excited for this weekend.
What was the senior night stuff last Saturday? It was obviously probably emotional for you and your family.
Yeah, very emotional. Time flew by those 4 years, and you just never want to get off the ice, especially out on the Samford. So just took a couple extra minutes at the end of the game and just kind of looked around, and it's been special.
You guys are 10 points out of your last 12, and it's a little bit different than what it was going like a month ago. What's been the biggest change for you guys in the past month?
Honestly, just playing to our systems kind of and our abilities, what coach has been going over in practice and stuff. I feel like we've been sticking with that, and our special teams, our power play has been really good lately, and I feel like that's helped us as well.
What's just in sticking to those systems, how does that translate to consistency? Because even back in January, there'd be stretches, a period here, a period there, where it looked like you guys were playing like you are now, but it was the consistency part that was missing. So how do you build that consistency?
I feel like just sticking together through it all, no matter what, all the adversity and stuff, just being a team and staying positive. We go down a goal or whatever, we just know that we have our systems to rely on and just get back to the simple things.
I want to ask you too, you had a couple of challenges that went from minor penalties to major penalties, one this past Friday and then against Michigan Tech. And obviously that goes to Dylan and Joe. But what kind of coaches are they like in just interacting with you guys?
They're awesome to be around. They know a lot about the game, and they're also really friendly too to be around. And they're great guys, and Bemidji State's lucky to have them.